If you are enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. If you would like a slumbering seagull t-shirt, please click on the link below. Thank you. Silas ran up to Leroy, his eyes full of excitement. Hey, Leroy!
Hey, Leroy, how you doing? Silas asked, his voice tinged with concern. Leroy sighed, kicking at the sand as he walked. I don't know, Silas. There's a lot on my mind. Silas nodded, waiting patiently for Leroy to continue. After a moment of silence broken only by the gentle lapping of waves, Leroy spoke again. You know, back at school, everyone thinks I've got it all figured out. The popular athlete, always surrounded by friends. But the truth is, I hate a lot of it. Silas looked surprised. Really? I always thought you loved being in the spotlight. Leroy shook his head. That's the thing. I don't. I mean, I love sports. It's a great way to blow off some steam, but I don't like it when kids try to act cool around me by being shallow or rude to others, as if putting people down makes them somehow better. I'm getting pretty tired of being expected to be obsessed with the latest 5-second trend until something new comes along. This place is like a dream world, but it feels more real than any of the other stuff. And I'm not as what? Silas asked. Not as pressured, I guess. And it helped get my mind off of... Leroy trailed off, not meaning to go into the subject of his father. Huh? Silas waited for Leroy to finish his sentence, but Leroy quickly changed the subject. You want to know something, Silas? I admire you, Leroy admitted, his voice quiet. Me? Silas asked. He couldn't believe what Leroy had just said. Leroy nodded. Yeah, you don't do things just to be popular. You're true to who you are, even if it means sitting alone at lunch reading your comics. I respect that a lot. Silas was silent, processing this unexpected revelation. Uma started to wake, and they all gathered their things and headed out towards the location of the golden staff. As they were walking, Leroy suddenly stopped in his tracks. Everyone halted. I wish I could be more like you, Leroy continued. To worry less about what others think and more about things that actually matter. To be a leader rather than just going along with the crowd. But I get scared, you know? Scared of losing my place, of being left out, and I'm ashamed of that. Leroy took a deep breath. I need to apologize to you, Silas. I'm so sorry that I lost you out there in the ocean. And I'm sorry that whenever I saw you alone, I never approached you, even to at least just say hi. Silas thought for a moment. You don't need to apologize, Leroy. There was a storm and a huge wave, and there really wasn't anything you could have done. If anything, I should be thanking you because you saved me from whatever would have happened to me on the cruise ship. And when it comes to school, don't worry about it. We're here now, and hopefully after we get the golden staff, we can defeat these pirates and go home. It's all water under the rickety bridge. Silas winked, making a joke. Leroy smiled and let out a chuckle. They shook hands and continued walking. As they began to approach the Great Divide, Leroy's words hung in the air between them. Leroy, I had no idea that you felt this way, but you know what? The fact that you're aware of all this, that you want to change, that already makes you different from the more shallow kids. And this journey we're on, it's not just about finding a staff. Maybe it's about finding ourselves. Leroy nodded in agreement. Thanks, Silas. You're really easy to talk to, you know? I appreciate you letting me babble on like that. You're right. Maybe it's time I start being true to myself, just like you. As they ventured closer to the canyon, both boys felt a shift in their friendship, a new understanding and respect that would carry them through the challenges ahead.
Sunset gave way to night, and they decided to set up camp and get some rest.
Leroy woke up with a letter set down right next to where he was sleeping. It had his name handwritten on the envelope. He looked around, and neither Uma or Silas were awake yet. He turned the envelope around, and on the other side, it had the words, "Do not open until you are standing at the canyon's edge." Silas began to stir. He sat up and yawned. He noticed the letter in Leroy's hands. "Whoa, what is that, Leroy?" Silas asked. "It's a letter for me. I'm not sure who it's from, though." Suddenly, a dove floated down to the ground near the boys. "There's no need to be confused. The letter is from God." Leroy's eyes grew wide. Surprisingly, the letters reminded him of the letters he would receive from his father from time to time when he got a chance to write while he was on his deployments. Leroy stood at the edge of the canyon and took the letter out of his pocket. The canyon was dark. He thought if he fell in, he would be falling forever. He took a deep breath and read.
Perfect.